Alright guys, today we're going to be changing the water pump in this 2004 Chrysler Town & Country minivan. It's got the 3.3 liter V6, as you can see, and the water pump is leaking really bad. First thing you're going to want to do, which I already got done here, is you're going to want to jack the car up, pull the tire off, and make sure you use a jack stand. Safety first. You do not want this thing falling down on you. Next thing we're going to want to do is pull the shroud off. I already pulled it off, but you can see it goes right up in here. There's 3 little clips, look just like that. There's 1 on the side, and then 2 on the top. Pull that off, get that out of the way, and you can see what you're dealing with in here. The water pump is right here. I don't know how well you can see it in the video, but today we're going to be replacing this and also this inlet pipe right here, where I originally thought the leak was at, but turns out it's coming from the water pump. Okay, once you got that shroud off, we're going to go up here and remove the radiator cap, and we're going to drain the coolant from the radiator. I'm going to do it from this lower radiator hose. I've already pulled this hose clamp back from here, just using a pair of channel locks. And what we're going to do, just give it a little pry. Just like that. Try not to spill any, but generally it's a messy job. Just get as much out as you can. Just leave that there for a while. Just a quick side note, if you guys have any animals you like to run around outside, dogs, cats, be very careful with this antifreeze because it's very sweet. And what happens is a dog or a cat will think it's water. They like the taste because it is really sweet, and they'll go and drink this, and it's poisonous. So make sure you clean up your mess and keep this out of reach of the animals. Okay, next up is going to be to remove this intake pipe for the water pump. There's a 13 millimeter right here. Just go ahead and pull that out. Comes out pretty easy. There we go. And then there's one more right here. I already broke them free. That's why it's looking so easy. And pull it out with your finger right here. Should just be able to pull it down over here. I need to pry it out. The screwdriver. Just use a screwdriver to pry that down a little bit, and bam, comes right out. You can see, I'll pull this out. there's an O-ring right there, and that can sometimes be a cause of your leak. That's what I originally thought it was, but like I said, it's coming from above that. But as you can see, this thing's pretty beat up. Got a new one coming, and throw it on. Alright, once that's out of the way, we can actually start looking at the water pump up in here. Get a light. That's the water pump. There's 3 bolts for the pulley, and we're actually going to loosen them right now while the belt's still on. That way we have something to hold it. Okay, 3 bolts in here that hold this pulley on to the water pump. It's a 13mm wrench. Just going to loosen it. There's 2 you can get to. This one and that one, pretty easy. The one up in the corner is kind of a pain. So what I did is I took a 15mm socket, put it right here, crank pulley, and just rotated it. Just a little bit, just enough to rotate this pulley again to get to that other bolt, which I did. And you just loosen all 3. That way the next step we can do is pull the belt off. And to do that, you're gonna need a 1/2 inch ratchet. Some vans, depending on the pulley up in here, let me show you. That's what we're looking at, the tensioner pulley. Some vans only have the one side right here. This one, luckily for me, has a spot on this side. If you only got the one up on top, you will have to drop the motor down, which isn't too much of a pain. But hopefully we don't have to do that because we got that other tab. And I think I can just slide this ratchet in here. We'll find out. It's going to be a tight bit. Look at that. Got that in there just like that. What you're going to do, let's rotate it to the right and loosen the belt just enough to pull it off. Let me show you. Alright, so you pull that just enough to get the belt off right here, and it's definitely recommend using either a breaker bar on the end of this or a longer handled ratchet. It'll be a lot easier. But we want to get the belt off the pulley here. I'll show you guys. There we go. Just kind of pull that out of the way. Then we want to pull these bolts off, which, since we've already loosened, pull out by hand. Not too bad. And last one. Ooh. I just found an issue. Good thing we're replacing this water pump, because so this is a bit of an issue. This bolt right here is actually attached to the tab of the water pump. Let me show you. See, it's broken off right in there. That should not be the case. Like I said, glad I got a new water pump coming. Alright. Chances are you're not going to be able to get this pulley out just by itself, unless you drop the motor. You might be able to get it then, but let me try to wiggle it out. If not, we'll have to pull it out with it still on, which isn't an issue. Alright, so you're not going to be able to pull the pulley out by itself. That's not an issue. We could just rotate it out of the side like that. Get it out of the way, because there's bolts on this water pump that have to come out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I believe. And it looked like a 10 millimeter. Let's go ahead and start working on that. Once you pull those 5 bolts out, water pump will drop out. Just like that. Unluckily for me, I had 2 bolts break off in there. So, now I gotta deal with that. Alright. So, give you a little aftermath story. After I took the water pump out, I broke 2 bolts off. And I don't know if you can see, they're on the far side, so you can't see it right here. But I spent a few hours trying to remove those bolts with no luck. The only way to get to it is from the back end, and needless to say, it's a pain. I spent a few hours on it before deciding, you know what? Let me just epoxy it really good, silicone it, and you know, pray it don't leak. And that's what I did. Put it all back together. Put a lot of silicone on the one end, and put it all back together. Just reverse everything I showed you guys. And I drove it all last night. 0 leaks. So so far so good. But here's just the aftermath, what it looked like. I actually did not replace this pipe right here. The one I ordered from Vance Auto Parts was the wrong one. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna throw this one back up. O-ring wasn't too bad. And again, no leaks. I replaced this hose clamp right here, which I definitely recommend doing. The ones you use the pliers with, they only work once. Put them on again, they always have a tendency to leak. But yeah, there's a new water pump. Looks great, works great. 0 issues so far. So again, everything's just reversal of how you take it apart. What I'm about to do now is put the shroud back on and put the tire and drop it back down, and I'm good to go. Yep. Okay, so to do that job correctly, you'd have to drill out those bolts and then tap the hole. And I just couldn't get my drill back in there to do that. I've read a few reviews where some people are actually able to get a small right angle drill and actually get up in there to be able to get the job done. They'll drill out the bolt, and then they'll use like an easy out extractor. And that's what I was trying to do. Spent a few hours on it. Again, got nowhere. The only way for me, with the tools I have on hand, would be to remove the timing belt cover to do the job properly. And to remove the timing belt cover, that takes quite a bit of time, and I didn't have the time. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to silicone it really well, and we'll see if it works. It doesn't take long to pull apart. If it works, hey, it works. You know, I don't have to do the whole timing belt cover. If it doesn't work, I'll just pull it apart again, and another day I'll take the whole thing apart and do it properly. But like I said, I didn't have a lot of time, and it's cold, it's wet where I'm at, so you know, I threw it together and it worked. It's definitely not what I would recommend, but it gets the job done, and the fact that it's not leaking, that's the main part. So you don't want your water pump to be leaking. If it's not leaking, you did a good job. Again, if it starts leaking, I'll have to take that whole time belt cover off, and if I do that, I'll make a video on how to do that. So far so good. Have a good one.